They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because when is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth, the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. How about you? For the master, master teacher. Freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life-born spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring the master teacher. Bring the freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring the master teacher. Bring the freedom for the master, master teacher. 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 Freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down, make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop us. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because when is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for teacher. Cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth the lies must fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. How about for the master, master teacher, freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. On spirit, and without knowing we could never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down and make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher. Cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth the lies must fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom. Master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Bring it, master teacher, bring it, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Bring it, master teacher, bring it, freedom for the master. Master teacher, 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 freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on.
Freedom,
They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished.
freedom.
They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down to make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult.
Bring home now, bring home now. It's freedom, master teacher, freedom, master teacher. Bring home now, bring home now. It's freedom, master teacher, freedom, master teacher.
There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our
He's
opposition?
been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, 'cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamarae. He put his life on the line for us all, and for the truth the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. Said, how about you? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. 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 Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come on spirit, and without knowing we could never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring it master teacher, bring it freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring it master teacher, bring it freedom for the master, master teacher, 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 freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to divide brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down and make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamarae. He put his life on the line for us all, and for the truth the lies must fade away. It's been a long time coming, yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking, it won't be long to make our dreams come true, for a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. How about for the master, master teacher, freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring it master teacher, bring it freedom for the master,
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down and make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do everything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamarack. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth, the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. How about you? For the master, master teacher. Freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master. Freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life-born spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring the master teacher. Bring the freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring the master teacher. Bring the freedom for the master. Master teacher, 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 freedom for the master. Master teacher.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down and make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult.
Bring home now.
There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamarae. He put his life on the line for us all, and for the truth the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. How about you? For the master, master teacher, freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life-born spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring the master teacher, bring the freedom for the master, master teacher, freedom for the master, bring the master teacher, bring the freedom for the master. Master teacher, 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 freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to divide brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down to make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master.
Rahubat Moisar Anuki Saken Sakam Reye. Greetings, family. I am Saken Sakam Reye. And once again, it's another Tuesday. Ask Us Anything live on OSM, because our souls matter. All right, so we're waiting for more people to join, and we can get into answering your questions. Let's see who's online. Yeah, right now, if you're listening to the news, we have a heat wave in the UK. They're saying this might be the hottest day of this year, so we're enjoying some sun. Rahubat everyone on all the platforms, especially those on TikTok. Always a pleasure to have you with us. Yeah, I'm looking at the chat on YouTube, and yeah, waiting for more people to join. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. It helps us, helps the algorithm. All right, so yeah, you can help us to help you by doing the basics like commenting, liking, sharing, and of course subscribing. Crowd favorite media, Rahubat. Kip Ro Kembui, Rahubat. Milady B38, Rahubat. Welcome to all the new people that are joining OSM. Rodville channel, Rahubat. Technics, Rahubat. Technicel, Rahubat. Satak Nati, Rahubat. Rodney Dunton, Rahubat. D-Locks, Rahubat. Chilean, Rahubat. Raye Sananda, Rahubat. Trevor Mbutuma, Rahubat. Coco Brown, of course, Rahubat. Yeah, some of our regulars. Yeah, people that are consistent. Consistency is the key. You know, just keep studying, keep reading, keep researching. You know, you guys have almost done a degree. For those of you who have been with us right from the start, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're almost professors now because of the amount of information that we have shared by the master teacher, the one and only Dr. Malachi Z.K. York. Yeah, because, you know, you guys are, you're the A students. You know, when you actually study Wu-Sabat and put it to the test against anyone, you see for yourself. It's not what we say, like, just speak to other people out there and see. When you start breaking down Wu-Sabat and giving them the right knowledge and the right wisdom, the right understanding, there's nothing they can do like but really realize that, yeah, this is powerful. Soul Dad Rahubat, welcome. Thank you for the entertaining and thought-provoking questions on Instagram. I love that you cut through emotion and get to the facts. Thank you. And that's the way the master teacher taught us. It's like sometimes people get emotional and get caught up and try to, you know, deviate or dodge the questions. But, you know, the facts are the facts, and you've got to be able to prove those facts. That was from Technics Cell. You say, also, I saw you mention Thoth in another video, and a lot of what was transcribed from the Emerald Tablets, translated by Isaac Newton, compare word for word with White Jebus in the New Testament. Yeah, they be pirating and biting our stuff, man. And then they're very good at imitating and not originating. So they're supplanters, you know. And that's the reality. A lot of people do pirate and borrow from us. Some even go as far as stealing, but don't give acknowledgement. It's all right to borrow or to use and something and share, but like, you know what I'm saying, quote, you know, when you're allowed to borrow things, but as long as you give props or reverence to the person that you're borrowing or using from, that's cool. Like, you know, we don't ever come up here and pretend that this is all coming from me or it's my stuff. Imagine I was just here, just talking all this and never mentioned Partner Babyanun or the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York. Like, it's all mine. You know what I mean? That doesn't work. Like, we say, respect, give respect where respect is due. And by honoring the elders or those who came before us, you know what I'm saying? They actually help you, because when they've transitioned and their ancestors, they're still on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Guiding, protecting, helping you. So it's very important to honor your fathers, you know, because when you do that, your days may be longer. But when you try to not give respect where respect is due, and you kind of come off on the ego thing and that kind of like no humility, they don't help you. So, you know, it's important to do that. So thank you. Satak Nakti Rahubat Moisa.
TikTok question.
Oh, okay, let's go for it.
It says, evening, what are your thoughts on African spirituality? And then on Instagram, it says, what do you say about the African spiritual practice of Yoruba? So that's two questions.
Yeah. True spirituality originates in Africa anyway, you know. So when we say, what do you say about it? We are the embodiment of spirituality, and we live just by nature. Because when we start to talk about spirits and saying that everything has a spirit, it's because you're dealing with obviously there are different types of spirits, okay? So we're talking about natural ether energy, which permeates through everything, because you're dealing with energy and vibration. So everything vibrates, everything pulsates. That means like in and out, or like, you know, like we breathe in and out, you have up and down, you have oscillation, because movement is showing you that you're alive. You see, so as we explain many times, trees, rocks, everything that is on this planet is vibrating. Sometimes you might look at something and you think that it's not moving, but when you go to the molecular structure and look at the atoms, they're actually moving and vibrating, you know. So in terms of that, we are connected to nature, and as people from nature need nature, we have to work with nature, because we ultimately return back to nature. And you have to recognize that Wu-Sabat is what people are calling African spirituality. Obviously, depending on how far back you go, you will realize that some of these practices today that people are calling African spirituality actually stem from a combination or a mixture of foreign influences with our traditional or original African spirituality. We just refer to it as Wu-Nuwap or Wu-Sabat, which is a culture of us being animist, or beings that respect nature, because we know we're from nature, we connect with nature. We know that without the sun, without the water, without the air, you know, moisture, these are the components of life for life to exist. So we recognize, the sun, and we were known as sun people because, our melanin, everything interacts with the sun. So spirituality is not necessarily based on dogma or like man-made things. But when you're saying, like Yoruba going back, because again, like everything else, things get watered down and they stray from its original roots and source. So yeah, traditionally, what you're calling Yoruba today would have been being an animist. And later on, influences from foreigners, mainly the Arabs, got involved, and now you have things where people are doing that were not, were not the original way. Things like blood sacrifices, or now unaliving animals and sprinkling blood or chickens, or, having to give something to appease whatever deity you're calling on. Those things weren't in its original form. And you can hear the influences where when you're saying certain Yoruba words or calling on some of these deities, like Obatala, right? You can hear Ta'ala, Allah, that word in there. That's definitely showing you there's been some Arab influence, because Oba or Oba means father, yeah? So Oba Ta'ala, you can hear it becomes Father Allah, because that influence came by way of remember that when you're dealing with the what people call the slave trade, we call slave kidnapping. There were Arabs first before the Europeans. I'm talking about the transatlantic, slave kidnapping. So yeah, so you can see that's managed to influence or get in there. But yeah, traditionally, that's our way. That was our way as animists, and it's all about being in tune with nature. But obviously, as time goes on, if you're not of a particular bloodline, then you're calling on ancestors that are not going to really respond to you or work for you. So if you are of, that heritage, listen to the word, heritage. It's like following the woman or the mitochondria in terms of the female when you say her, and inherit. So you're inheriting that bloodline. It. You see, so yeah, so obviously the master speaks a lot about when he first started teaching those traditions. If you read my brother, not my brother the extraterrestrial, I Know This Man, in that he, the brother explains how the original traditions of Yoruba was what the master started to give us in terms of culture and so on. So, all right. So what was go ahead, the next one.
I just have a question here. This the topic about spirit and soul, right? I know everything doesn't have a soul. I know your soul can be taken, or you can lose your soul, and stuff like that. But as far as spirit now, he says everybody has a spirit. But what about spirits that don't belong? Every spirit belongs to an entity. What about spirits? And they even say that spirits through alcohol is also, alcohol represents different spirits. And then also there's different spirits, like, and different entities. So does a spirit have to belong to something, or can a spirit just can a spirit be an entity?
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is I think there's more to spirit.
There is more to spirit, and one of the things as well that I want to kind of emphasize is that sometimes when we give an answer, we only give you, you know, as much as maybe say time may permit, or we may get distracted, or we don't go into great detail. But yes, there's definitely more to spirit. We actually have a number of actual facts, like 30 spirits. We will look into that in a minute. And we have soul, spirit 2, and others, and you know, many scrolls that go into the subject of spirit. But yes, when we say these things like spirit and soul, we have to recognize ultimately everything is energy, right? Energy cannot be destroyed, and energy can be transformed or channeled. So yes, when we are talking about spirits, there are disembodied spirit beings. There are spirit beings that are you're hosting. You can have more than one spirit that you're hosting. Some spirits can be with you for a time and then leave. Others can come in. Some people have a issue dealing with this, but it's like your body is actually porous. What does that mean? It means like everything else, nothing is really solid, okay? So if nothing is solid, things can pass through you and in and out. Even your, like I said, you have pores. If you really get a magnifying glass and look at your skin, you'll start to see the pores. And everything is held together by atoms. And atoms, people think that are solid, but they're not. They're just energy pockets. So it's really held together by many things. You know, we talk about gravity and so on, and nutational rates that hold things together. So everything is actually vibrating and held together, and things can go in and out and through them. You know, so when you're having a bath, for example, your skin is porous, so the water can seep into you. When you get tattoos, it's ink. That ink, even though it's drawn, it can seep through and go into your bloodstream. So when you dealing with the whole notion of spirits, listen to the word when you're touching on alcohol that is referred to as spirits. It's really ethanol, right? So you putting that into your body, it does something to you, because you already have, especially if you're a being that has a soul, and interaction with the spirit, as in ethanol or alcohol, has a reaction. This is why if you've already got fire, right, which is your solar plexus, ties to your soul. That's, you can hear the word solar plexus. And when you pour more alcohol on top of a fire, what happens? You get hot. Yeah? That's why when you breathe on your hand, do that and you can feel the heat. Either you're feeling the heat because you have a solar plexus, or you're going to feel the cold, which is the absence of soul, but that's a lunar plex, you see? So depending on the being you are, and the fact that to be alive, there's a burning taking place. So you're taking in oxygen and you're giving out carbon dioxide, yeah? So there's a burning, something is happening, because carbon is a residue of burning. So when you're breathing in and out, pulsating, yeah, you're taking in and out, in and out. Everything has those two polarities, or, you know, positive and negative, or up and down, or in and out. You know, you can go on and on to see that because you're living in a three-dimensional world, you have two sides, two extremes, and then there's a middle part. And that middle is where you know, you can lean either way, to the positive or to the negative, or agreeable or disagreeable. So yes, spirits, you can have entities that are spirits that are roaming the planet and they have no body because they're trapped here, okay? And you can have spirits that you're born with. You can have agreeable spirits, as in relating to your ancestors that are connected to you energetically. And you can have disagreeable ancestors who are also spirits that are connected to you. Now, when we give you the different realms, right? And you look at the spiritual realm or the physical realm or the soul realm or the mental realm, they're all connected, right? However, there are different densities. Yeah, so things that are solid are going to be more dense. And then as you go higher in terms of vibration, it's going to be less dense. And the simplest way we use to explain this is taking something like water, which can slow its vibration and the molecules are more tightly knitted together to become ice. But then when you apply heat to the ice will melt into a liquid form. And then if you continue to apply heat to the liquid form, it becomes vapor or steam. And then that steam can then disappear or appear to disappear. But water always, it cycles and returns back to itself. And we are the same because we are composed of more water than anything else, or liquids, because water is a part of the liquids that are in your body, as is the oceans, and the planet Earth has more water than what people consider Earth, because you're breathing water. Hydrogen is water or contains water. Hydro, that deals with water to hydrate yourself. So everything is purely composed of water in some shape or form. All right, go ahead. Oh, Rahubat, live caller. I can hear some kind of echo coming back from your phone, so you may want to turn it down. Rahubat, what's your name? Where you calling from, and what's your question, please?
Okay, my name is Kwame Reye. I'm calling from Connecticut.
Rahubat.
Yeah. Sorry.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear myself echoing in the background. Do you mind just turning it down a bit, please?
Okay. My name is Kwame Reye. Rahubat to use the camera. Rahubat to the team. I have a question. The other day I was listening to one of your teachings, and you made mention of humans recycling, like going and coming if you don't make the grade. Assuming I get my grandma's picture, okay, and I put it in a place I always go to and reference my grandma and I don't know how to put this thing. Let's say I find a picture of my grandma, okay, and I put it somewhere. All the time I meditate, I give reverence to her and all that. What if that grandma of mine didn't make a grade and she had incarnated into the present world now? So in this case, how would would the reverence go?
If I'm getting your question, you're saying that if your grandmother has passed or transitioned, and
Yes.
then you have, like we teach about having an altar to be able to communicate with her, but you're saying that what if she has returned?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
Right, but has returned in the personage of someone else. Is that
Please say that again.
when you say returned as in reincarnated?
Yes, has reincarnated.
Right. And your question is like, what's the purpose of still communicating with her, or what's the...
Yes, what's the purpose? Since she has already reincarnated and he's here.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. You don't know that for sure, though, do you? So you're
No, I don't know that.
so you're speculating. So because you don't know, you can't actually say that she has, because when we cross over, not everyone comes back, because that may be the last time of you being here, and then you just go back to the higher realms. So you remain, if you've made it, you only reincarnate if you haven't fulfilled your purpose, or you need to come back and repeat. But even then, what we always forget, right, is that, oh, you know what, I forgot to, I'll come back to the soul because I wanted to read something. But we forget that you have something called an oversoul. You also have a counterpart, regardless. Yeah. So you always have the counterpart in the other realms anyway. You follow? So because you have that counterpart, your grandma will also have the counterpart as other people. So you would still be communicating with them. But it's not just with your grandma. The reason we say your grandmother is because the link is stronger on your mother's side. But you're also connected to all your other ancestors too. And they're all related. It's just, oops, excuse me. It's just that in terms of why is it more potent or stronger on the mother's side, is because the woman carries the mitochondrial DNA. So you speak through your mother to your grandmother, and if your mother is not here and she's crossed over or transitioned, then she would be your link, the closest link, and then through her you link to your grandmother, and through her to your great grandmother. So it's not like you only have a connection with one person. You have a connection with all of your ancestors. The reality, some of them are agreeable and some of them are disagreeable, and they then both work through you, through the connection that you have with them, because you have an etheric connection or an energy connection with them by way of the different parts of you. So yeah, so they will still be, you'll still be able to make the connection with her in the etheric or in the other realms. Like I said, it's not just like you're just here. Even yourself right now, you have a counterpart, and I'll read that from the soul, the 30 spirits. So, yeah, in a minute, so that it makes sense. So let me just quickly read that. So this is why the master says that you must bind the 30. We say 30 spirits because it goes back 4 generations, and that you have to subtract one, or however many people are alive in that matrix. So if you're alive, you subtract 1 from the 30. So now it becomes 29 that have crossed over on the other side, going back 4 generations. So I'm reading from 30 Spirits from verse 7, which is on page 1. The master teacher teaches us like this: you must bind the 30 spirits that seek to control you. 8. The very voices of your own Salafu ancestors who lived in the image of the beast and at Tamwat, death, have been trapped in his hell. 9. You must bind them and free them from the realm of hell, that you will be free of their whispers into your Abab, heart, and Akal, mind, which affects your very actions each Zaman, day of your life. Yeah, and it goes on. 10. The Sawatu, voices who whisper to your inner mind as to what is best to do, what is right to do, and what is good to do. 11. And Sawatu, voices who whisper to your inner emotions and desires what is not best for you and others. 12. What is not right to do and what is not good for you. 13. The whispers that are agreeable and the whispers that are disagreeable. 14. Your choice. Your will is influenced by the very voices of and in your DNA. Yeah, 15. What you became after birth. 16. What you accepted as you grew. 17. What you believe you want as opposed to what you need. 18. Your inner voices who whisper to you only wish to fulfill their lifelong desires with your jasad, your flesh, and your khatat, your body. 19. To lust their lust, to pleasure as they wish to be pleased by any and all. That's why in the previous question I was saying about the alcohol. So if one of those ancestors wishes to lust or to be pleasured by way of alcohol, they will influence you to drink the spirit, which then affects them as well. 20. They seek to use your frame for their own use, even unto your tamwat, death. 21. And each of the 30 ka'au spirits in your DNA is linked to their own 30 ka'au spirits. DNA and all the ka'u spirits they have encountered during their own lives. You see, so I'm going to jump to, because again, relating to the both questions, you have unclean spirits and you have, because again, if you were to go to the religious books, they also teach you that these beings are referred to as legions. That's why the word, when we say religion, ties into the word legions. And you can find that in Mark 5, verse 8 to 13, where it talks about unclean spirits, and the being is asked, what is thy name? And he answers saying, my name is Legion, for we are many. Yeah. And if you keep going, read Matthew 12, 43 to 48. It talks about unclean spirits. Yeah. But I wanted to go to, I think it's verse 41. I think it's 41 in soul, spirit. So yeah, it is. We can talk about, because again, remember, they're different spirits and they're different souls. So we have the spirit in terms of, like I said, every living thing has that spirit, but then you had another portion of spirit. But let me come back to that because that's dealing with the nafas. All right, let me go to 41 on this one because I want to, yeah. It says, 41, and when we look at Parba'a, called the soul, the creative expression of emotional being, right? It says 42, and there is a counter soul called in our language Rawa, called also the soul. The reason I jumped to that, and then I'm going to come back to the souls, what the different parts of the soul is, that a lot of people don't know in religion the differences between the different spirits and the different souls. So the master teacher says there, Baba Yanun, he says in verse 3, I told you Ba'a, soul, and Rawa, soul. So those are two souls. And then he says, I spoke to you about the Ka'a, the spirit, and the Nafas, spirit. Then he talks about the Ak, which is the etheric being, and the Khu, which is the oversoul. And you ask about these parts of your existence. 1, the Khu, the overbeing. 2, the Akh, the etheric being. 3, the Ba'a, the creative expressional being. And 4, Rawa, the breath of living being. So the breath is what I was saying about taking in oxygen and breathing out carbon dioxide and the burning taking place. And then you also have Ka'a, the exoplasmic being. 6, you have Nafas, the living being. 7, Khatat, the physical being. So yes, you can still connect to all of these beings, and this is why it's important to bind the disagreeable ones. And there's a movie called The Fallen. It's quite an old movie by Denzel Washington is in it as one of the stars of the film. You can watch that, and there have been many other movies that, you know, try to address this subject matter of spirits and speaking to like your ancestors and invoking them in your life to help you. So this is why it's very important to know which ones mean you well and which ones are trying to utilize your vessel to continue living in the physical, because they want to continue to experience the things in the physical because they no longer have a body. And how they do that is by the energy or the vibrations that you permeate from what you do with your physical body, because your physical body is connected to the spiritual you as well as the other parts of you. Overstood?
Yeah, that's right. And that brings me to my last question.
Sure, go ahead.
How would one know that a past grandma, how would one know that she belongs to the agreeable side or the disagreeable side? Assuming she was a disagreeable one, and you are giving reverence to, does it mean you are going to be influenced by the disagreeables of your ancestors?
Great question. That's the thing. You have to recognize if they were disagreeable when they were here, then it's unlikely that they have crossed on or moved on and are not trapped, you see, because this is why the teachings are to help you, so that when you get to that situation, you would have amassed enough agreeable deeds and agreeable energy, so that, you know, we speak about things like your heart being weighed against the ma'at feather, which is to see whether or not the judgment that you give yourself each day by the things you do. This is why we're saying that if somebody was disagreeable and they were doing a lot of disagreeable things, when that time comes, it's unlikely that they're going to be, you know, but again, it depends on what we're calling disagreeable. But at the end of the day, disagreeable doesn't necessarily mean bad, nor does agreeable necessarily mean good, because people try to equate good and bad because of religion. Because you can do a disagreeable thing, but it just means you disagree, you know. So if you disagree to do something, say there's a group of people trying to do something disagreeable, and you disagree with that, then you cannot be judged to be doing a disagreeable thing, because you're preventing yourself from taking part in a disagreeable thing. But it's not really, the judgment doesn't really come from you, because we have overseers and beings that are recording, you know, everything we do. So it's really them that are in a position to be the ones that make, if you may call it that, the judgment. So it's all about, you know, leaning more to the agreeable side, because and you have to learn disagreeable from agreeable, because as I said, let's say for example, the being that people call the angel of death, or Anubu or Anupu, Anubis, right? His job is to come and help you when it's time for you to transition. You know, he was there to help the deceased go through the rites to either, you know, make it or don't make it. But most people, they've translated him as the angel of death, and those are afraid to die, because they've been taught that death is the end of everything. And so if they haven't been living an agreeable life, they get frightened, or the fear kicks in when that moment comes, because this is the moment where you start to realize that you're on your own, and that now you have to face whatever you have been judging yourself for throughout your entire life. So people that are not ready or not prepared for the journey, to move forward are going to be afraid. And an analogy that will help to kind of emphasize it is if you have an exam to take, you know, if you haven't studied and you haven't prepared, and now the day comes for the exam, you know, most people who don't prepare or haven't studied are going to start being stressed and panic and worry, unless they really don't care about the exam, you know. But if you've been preparing in terms of what we're being taught, how to clean ourselves inside out, how to be mindful, how to eradicate the 9 mental diseases, how to study Wu-Sabat to transform ourselves inside out, how to deal with each other with love and unity, you know, all of these things is preparation for your transition. And when that time comes, you're not going to really, you shouldn't really be afraid of anything, because one, you know that energy can't be destroyed. So there is no end in that way, the way they make it out to you. And so, yes, it's all about preparing and, you know, being in favor of the agreeable overseers that are going to basically be the ones that will determine whether or not you continue to the higher realms or you come back and go through the lessons again. Understood?
Okay. Yeah, we good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Rahubat.
Rahubat.
Same person. He meant Wadi.
Oh, he meant Wadi, okay. Yes, so let's look at the chat. Yeah, I was saying before I take the next question, that sometimes you may watch a video and I've answered a question, and what you find out, you can ask the same question over and over and over again 10 times and may get 10 different answers. Not 10 different answers, but like a build, something else will be added that you're like, oh, I didn't catch that. So never ever think like if a question hasn't been fully answered, just ask again. Or if you want clarification of something, just ask again. I'm saying that because I saw a comment where somebody was saying that when I was answering the question about, somebody must have asked, do we pray? And I was answering it based on, we don't pray to the monotheistic religions, deities, but we, if you want to use the word pray to our ancestors. And somebody was saying, but we've got prayer books like the Taful or the Ashutat that we used to use back in the day when we were going through the schools of religions. But there was a time where the master then said, like, why are you praying? Who are you praying to? Why do you need to pray? If some people need it, they can, but not everybody needs it, because ultimately in the monotheistic way, they're begging this deity that they call God, Allah, Yahweh, or whatever, to do something or give them something, you see. And it's like, if you can get it yourself, you're really asking yourself to put the effort in to achieve what it is you want. And when I use the word P-R-E-Y phonetically relating to P-R-A-Y, it's because the extraterrestrials that you're giving your energy when you're calling on, praying on the monotheistic religions, gods, they are your prey for them, because you're giving your essence and your energy to them. But of course, if you want to use our way, which is Pataruk, and have an altar and communicate with your ancestors, because they are your familiar spirits and not other people's familiar spirits. So I just wanted to clarify that sometimes you just need to ask again or get clarification of an answer that we may not have maybe fully covered in your eyes. All right, so let's go to the next caller. Rahubat caller, what's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question today?
My name is Karith Muir from Jamaica.
Greetings, Karith. Rahubat.
Rahubat.
Go ahead. What's your question?
I just want to say that since I am Jamaican and I practice speaking Jamaican patois a lot, I don't always word my sentences in English the way how you would expect. That's why I may not word it in a way that you get all the time. So I ask that you'll forgive me of that.
No, it's fine. I could understand you perfectly well. I'm just saying sometimes people go around and round and round before they get to asking the question. It's not how you phrase it or your accent or anything like that. It's just like learn, not just you, but all of us, to ask direct questions. Because sometimes, you know, we give a lecture or a sermon or a breakdown before we get to the question. And it's like, that's what you really want to know. So let's just get straight to the question. Go ahead.
Okay. So my question is, well, you told me that when extraterrestrials live on this planet, they have to have children with humans in order to properly root and establish themselves on this world. But when I told you that an 8-foot tall female alien had sex with a Chinese man in 1994,
I didn't actually
to establish herself on this planet, but she leaves with that human child in her womb. She leaves and brings that child back to her world. What is the purpose of doing that? Is it for experimentation on that hybrid human child?
First of all, I need to correct what you said at the beginning, because I didn't say that you need to have a child to properly, you know, I can't remember what you said, but we don't say, not every extraterrestrial can procreate. Not every extraterrestrials have children. What we are saying is that there are many, it depends on what you are calling an extraterrestrial, because there's so many, okay? So many different species. Some cannot reproduce in the way that we do. You know, there are many that are hybrids and they don't have reproductive organs or systems, such as, you know, some of the Greys or EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities. Some of them, they just absorb nutrients by soaking themselves in vats. But the humans on the planet, some of them are children of extraterrestrials. The root races on the planet, so the Nagaru or the Negroid race, their genetics go all the way back to the overseers, the Panataru. You have some that go back to the Anunnaki, all right? You have reptilians that have also mixed in with us, which is why when you go through the trimester in your mother's womb, as you're growing, you go through a period where the ovulation takes place 3 months before. To a perfect ovulation is 3 months before conception, when the male and the female come together. And then once that interaction or sexual intercourse takes place, you start off as a reptilian being, because you're like a tadpole, or you look like a tadpole. The sperm, the semen, right? The semen, it's in water, it travels through water, it gushes out in what they call the chaotic waters, right? With 777,777,777 sperms that rush and gush to be the one that, you know, reaches the woman and the ovum. And then sometimes there may be two people in terms of twins, and you have different types of twins. You have Siamese twins and you have identical twins. But most of the time it's the one that wins the race, which becomes you. But then you go through that process of living in water in her womb, and then as that fetus is growing, at 6 weeks or 7 weeks, it's genderless, and then you look at it, it looks like a grey, because it's got a big head, big eyes, and a small body. And then it goes through that process, and eventually, because you're mammal as well as, you know, the components that you're made of. So what I'm saying is that when we say extraterrestrials, the genetics of these extraterrestrials have been embedded within us in our evolutionary process, okay? So then you have, that's the root race, the Negroid or the Nagaru or Nagaranadu, as we say, yeah? Then from us, you have other entities that came here, such as the Anunnaki, who everyone or every other being that came here had to kind of mix with us to produce hybrids. And then you have beings that came and produced hybrids by taking the genetic material, such as I said, the Anunnaki, who had to take what they called a primitive man, which was the Pataites, or those beings that were evoluting, and they were even actually eating some of them, all right? But then eventually they took their DNA, mixed their DNA with them to produce what they referred to as a Lulu Amilu, or a primitive worker, because they needed a worker to mine the gold, okay? Then you had other beings that came from like planets like Sing, right? Or Nirvana, that I'm dealing with when you start to deal with the Hindu beings, and they settled in like what people call India today, and they have their beings that came down. But their beings look, in terms of their color, they're black, as in dark skin, and they have straight fur. So when you go back to where they're coming from, where the Anunnaki are coming from, where the Natharu are coming from, where these Hindu beings are coming from, that's when you go outside the planet back into the different galaxies. And you know, these galaxies are mentioned, and you know, like constellations, Orion star system, the Sirius B, A and B and C. You got Pleiades, you got Taurus, you got, like I said, Nirvana, you got Sing, planets. There's so many beings out there in the cosmos that their origin also go back to the original beings throughout the cosmos, which are the overseers, all right? So then you've got Pleiadians that come here. You then had shaggy beings from Sirius. You've got, when you go into the caverns, some of these beings settled here, like the Dwanis, the Teros, the Deros, the cone heads, which are the Teros, then the Nakul, and all of these have mixed with people on the planet to produce offspring. With the reptilians, the draconians, the various greys that were then kidnapped by the draconians to produce various species of what people call greys. You got the small ones, you know, the 4 feet, like they're about 4 feet tall. Then you got the tall ones, as you've mentioned. So there's so many extraterrestrial beings on the planet. Not all of them have children. Then you have those, as you say, who abduct humans, take them on crafts, inject their DNA, or they're able to mix their DNA with them to produce offspring. And you then have children on the planet that were mixed like that and don't know about it. Some of the most famous people, they're beings that come from places like Venus, they're Venusians. You've got beings that came here like Val Thor. You've got beings like, Elvis Presley. You've got, what's his name? The rock guitarist, Jimi Hendrix, yes. There's so many like humans that will tell you this. So yeah, it's not like they have to mix, but these things take place. Like beings will appear to people in their sleep, females, and then, have insert them with DNA and all kinds of stuff when they're about to have a child, and that child becomes a part of them, so it's a wide and complex subject. So do you want to continue with your question? But I was just saying that you don't have to have children to, if you want to rephrase what you said.
Okay, I'll just move on to my next question.
Okay.
Okay, so regarding the different ethnicities on this planet, or as people call them, different races, dealing with like black and white people, since you said one of our purpose is to show Ashok, divine love, then are we here to, are we given the task to realize that as a black and white person, I'm just a darker skinned version of you and you're just a lighter skinned version of me, and that we're all one? Is our purpose here to realize that?
It is, but unfortunately, not everyone's nature will allow them to do that, because the DNA and the genetics and the nature goes back to those extraterrestrials who are responsible for them behaving and acting the way they do. We're not all the same. Yes, you can say, people say like the color of your skin, but it goes deeper than the color of your skin because it goes to the DNA, the different blood types, the different natures within you, because even though you can say we should all get along, and those who are taught and recognize that will most likely have those DNA within their being, you see, but you have 6 ether forces and 6 ether beings that their nature will not allow them to be that way, because even in Genesis 3, when it talks about that, you know, the Lord put enmity between the serpent and the woman's seed, that enmity causes this nature that comes out in terms of the disagreeable mental diseases. That's your, like we said, you know, pride, the ego, the anger, the jealousy, the you know, there's so many things, the lies, the and so because of that nature, it's very opposite to those that are trying to be agreeable, because agreeable beings will be agreeable and disagreeable beings are going to be disagreeable. And some of that disagreeableness causes conflicts, it causes wars, it causes diseases, it causes chaos, it causes so much negativity on the planet. And that's why it's got to a stage where the elders had to come up with a solution, which is we need to start all over again. And these replenishing or starting over have happened many times. Sometimes it's by floods, sometimes it's by meteorite showers, sometimes it's by tsunamis. There are many things that are taking place, diseases, you know, and now the Adamites, because of their nature, they're responsible for a lot of the chaos on the planet. So they were judged and judged to be removed because they've just, it's, as it says in their own scriptures, that it's evil continuously, you know, and yeah, so it's a time where things take place like extinction, new cycles have to start, and at the end of the day, you have to then look at the nature and look at the contents of the character and look at whether or not, when you leave this physical skin suit, where are you going to go if you're going to make it out of here. So it sounds good to say we should all just come together in love and unity, because Ashuk is about divine love. But at the end of the day, not everyone has Ashuk. Not everyone has the ability to express or show Ashuk by way of their nature.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, thank you. Tawat, thanks. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So Rodney says, I'm glad to finally be a member. So looking forward to classes and overstanding on a higher level. Tour. Yeah, that's it. It's all about the work. We all have to put in the work. And just like anything else, some people find different aspects very easy. You know, some people find picking up the language quite easy. Others find maybe like transforming their diet very easy. Other people are very good at retaining information. Others study and have discipline. So yeah, it's all about how much work you put in, what you get back out. And you have to study, you know, because the studying of the scrolls transforms you inside out, outside in. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Okay, let me just shout out some of the new people that have come on. Okay. Reyes Hernandez says, can all of the Moisa put as much effort into teaching as my sensei, Master Saken? Please, we should all follow his lead, help save others. Saken, love you, Moisa. Ashok Zamal, we go follow the master teacher, Partner Bab Yanun's example. Okay, I know we have a voice call, so let me take that and I'll build on that. Rahubat,
I just have a question here.
go ahead.
This the topic about spirit and soul, right? I know everything doesn't have a soul.
I think we did
and
that.
there's-
We answered already. Yeah. I don't know if there was anything that we missed.
Hi, question from Ben. Was Free Atlas a Draco mothership, and were they planning on taking autistic folks to the mothership first because of their incredible pattern recognition abilities, and the rest will be enslaved in the lithium mines, brackets, the blue Kachina?
Wow, that was a lot very quickly as well. But I kind of get it. The thing is, sometimes people ask questions based on the information that they've come across, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that is what we teach or that is fact. He's asking about 3i Atlas and that will they come and take, and he mentioned something about autism, and would the rest of the people be left? So yeah, you could play it one more time, but I think I kind of got the gist of it. We don't really teach that 3i Atlas is coming to take people and all. That's not our teaching. However, we do know that the master teacher, Pana Babyanun, has been teaching about many extraterrestrial beings and different crafts and beings coming here since the pretty much the beginning of, you know, the lifespan of this planet. So crafts come and take people all the time, and you know, they show you these in these scenarios in movies like Independence Day and so on and so forth. And obviously now they're releasing the UFO files, and it's a worldwide phenomena that people all over the world have had experiences with extraterrestrials and UFOs, and there are many abductions and accounts by people all over the world in different skin suits, different colors, different races. So there's no way a conspiracy will be held by different people across the entire globe. People get put into, you know, hypnotic regression and they do many things, and people draw things, get artists to draw what they saw from different parts of the world, and they correlate and look the same. So it's not far-fetched that extraterrestrials are coming here, abducting people. We know by way of what we've been taught that they've made deals to take a certain amount of people daily, and numbers in excess of 300,000 a day, and many missing people. There are no accounts for what's happened to them or why. So what we're saying is that even though, if you've watched the movie Disclosure Day, they literally disclose that they've had, many thousand things that were being hidden from the public because the people in power didn't feel like the public were ready for this new age that we're in. So the movie goes into disclosure. Ironically, so does, the current president of America releasing files, and there are more to come. I think there've been like 3 batches or maybe more now. So as they're releasing this, you're seeing more crafts, you're hearing more and more people talk about it, and we've been teaching this by way of Partner Babyanun, who himself is an extraterrestrial. The difference is going back to what Keris was asking. He's dark-skinned and his freckles are too close, so he's not given the stage or the platform, even though he's continued to do his job by writing all these books and explaining and giving detail when nobody else was doing it, to the point where now people are just catching up with us. We're like 30 to 50 years ahead, and so yeah, we'll have to wait and see what more gets disclosed. But he's already told us, spoken extensively about what the extraterrestrials that he represents are doing in terms of transforming you inside out, raising you back to being a supreme being. And for those who are studious and serious, they may make it to receiving back their barothry gland, which is part of how you get to becoming and using those abilities that have been maimed from you, and then that leads on to you doing other things. All right, go ahead with the new call.
Greetings, my brothers. Blessings to you all. Wagwan. So,
Wagwan.
I have a question. It's about the soul. So, is it possible for a soul to be split into two before it's born? The reason why I ask is because I have a brother, same dad, who was born the same day, same year, so exactly the same age, but we have different mums. I was born 10 a.m. in the morning. He was born 10 p.m. in the evening. And it's safe to say we're basically the opposites of each other. And there's a feeling in my heart that his mother did obia on my mother and my family. And I feel like what she's done has caused basically a lot of negativity to happen in all of our lives. And upon finding you guys in the past few weeks, I've been connecting with my spirituality, and I've just been coming to some conclusions, and I just need some deeper understanding of this, if this is even possible. Am I on the right track with my meditation, etc.? So yeah, guys, thank you for your time, and I hope this wasn't too long. I do have some more questions as well, but it's the first time calling in, so I ain't gonna go into too long. Greetings, my brothers.
Thank you for your question, and glad to have you here as a first-time caller. Yes, I mean, remember that the soul comes from the father anyway. And when you look at the fact that you can have, say, twins, when I gave the breakdown of how the sperms rush to try and make it, the master used to joke and say that you're here because you won that race. So never say you've never won anything in your life. But yeah, so it is possible to have identical twins, because what we have to recognize is that things that happen in the physical are replication of things that are happening in the what we call the unseen world. And I read earlier on in the Patarak, soul, spirit, spirit, that you have a counterpart as well, which would mean that that split that you're talking about. So when you arrive here, you are made up of two sides. So we refer to that as a 100. If you look at a circle to say that it represented completeness, 360 degrees, when you split it in half, then you have two sides. One is of 180 degrees of agreeable, and the other one is 180 degrees of disagreeable. And the whole journey is to merge and become one by one side overcoming the other side, or like the divinity of one side, it's going to surpass the other side. So therefore it becomes one. It's almost like the two sides. This is where it becomes in religion, you having two angels on either side of you that are recording whether it's the good deeds or the bad deeds, and so that when it's time for your judgment, you will decide where you're going, etc. And in Islam, you turn to each side and say Assalamu alaikum, rahmatul. I can't remember the exact phrase, but when we were going through that school, that's what we were being told. Like, that's where that is coming from. So I'm saying that to say, as you progress further, it's about, once you master this realm, right? Because the purpose of you coming here is to master the lower realms in order for you to progress and move on to the higher realms. So once you do that, then you have a counterpart, right? I'll read it again just so that we can hear what the master teacher is saying. So this is from Soul, Soul, Spirit, Spirit. It explains what the different parts of you are, such as the soul, the spirit, the etheric being, the overbeing, and the creative being, etc. But I jumped to verse 41, which is talking about the soul, which is really the one that carries you up to the next realms, right? So it says, 41, when we look at Paraba'ah, called the soul, creative expression of emotional being. 42, this is the part, and there is a counter soul called in our language Parawa, called also the soul. And so it's explaining that you also have a counterpart. And so in terms of what you're asking, because your father is the one that is responsible for passing that soul energy, because remember that the sperm travels up to the root chakra and it gets ignited and receives this light being that becomes what we're calling the soul or the etheric being, you see. So yes, he can do that. And so the same soul from your father goes to the two of you, being the two sons. So it is possible in that respect. And because you're split anyway, the 180 degrees of agreeable, the 180 degrees of disagreeable, if the agreeable of you conquers that other side, you become a full 360 degree being. So that split now then moves on to the next section where you're now a full 360 degree being, and your counterpart may be a 360 degree disagreeable being. So the same thing takes place again for you to move to that split. There's always that split, and then the split becomes one, where if you now being that 360 degree agreeable being and your counterpart is 360 degree, I say that because it will always be the opposite or the adverse to what you are. So you being 360 degrees means that the counterpart is going to be 360 disagreeable. So the same thing has to happen to merge into one to become a supreme being of 720 degrees. So again, if you, for lack of a better word, that struggle between the two natures, then you merge into one. And eventually you continue this merging to becoming a part of what we say is called Pa'ut, or the all expanding. But even that takes work, because when you first arrive, you are at the outer rims and you have to work your way to the center or to the middle. And we say we are part of the all expanding. Yeah, we're one as the all expanding, and the all expanding is one as me. And you know, so yes, that split continues, but it then merges to become one, and we all, if we get that far, become a part of the all expanding. So there is an actual partarak called the all expanding. Let me see if I find it quickly. We might be able to shed a bit more detail. But yes, so to answer your question, it is possible to be split. And this is also another partarak that relates to that is soulmates. Okay, because when you are, for lack of a better word, trying to get with someone, they should be your soulmate, because that basically means that two souls becoming one. Or even when we deal with it from a religious point of view, where you have, you know, the man clinging to the woman to become one. And people call this twin flames or soulmates, but it is about the fact that you're separated, but you become one being, one soul. Okay, see if I can find it all expanding quickly. Yeah, and while I'm doing that, you said you're new, you know, this is your first time calling, and you only found us a few weeks ago. So the first thing would be to get hold of as many of these scrolls that we're mentioning as possible so that you can be more informed and learn about the subjects that we're talking about. I don't seem to have a little bit more. And it's great when you are actually studying and reading the scrolls, because you should really be a student studying and then asking questions from the scrolls based on where you need more clarification or something doesn't make sense. And then we can literally be in the scrolls by Parnabad Yanun and not kind of just going off our dome based on what we have studied. Sometimes we just go with the flow, and if we find the scroll, we find it. If we don't, we don't. But we do this live, so sometimes that's how it goes. But yeah, let me mention a few more. Conscious being, that's a part of that deals with, we've already spoken about soul, spirit. Let me touch on the golden children, because when children are born, as you say, there are, for every golden child, there is also an equivalent fire child that is born. So this split is always happening, and that's why you always get like these words, even in religion, like cherubim and seraphim, Yah and Wei, the two sons that are always in conflict, Enki and Enlil, Jacob and Esau, and the list goes on and on. If I don't find it, you're not meant to get it. I haven't found it. So we're going to move on. But yeah, let me just, it's called the All Expanding. That's a part of that you should check out, all right? Okay, we have a live caller, Rahubat. Greetings, caller. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question today, please?
Rahubat, Dre calling from the States.
Hey, Rahubat, Dre. How you doing?
Everything always good, celebrating a birthday, so you know.
Happy Earth Day.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, good.
Thank you. I was calling for more understanding on the Canaanites. I had two questions concerning the Canaanites. Are the Canaanites classified or considered 7 ether or 8 ether beings? And also, with the Canaanite seed, didn't they mix in with the Flugeroids, the Neanderthals, to produce other seeds that's on this planet? And those seeds, aren't they evil and doing some of the same deeds that the Adamites were doing?
Tua, they're actually 5 and 6 ether beings. Okay, so the male is 5 ether and the female is 6 ether, or we say Femi 6. I'll read, if I read the same scroll, 30 spirits, and I go from verse 30, it says, so Canaanites can transfer their 6 etheric spirit forces to you by their dawi, evil, wakanu, Wiccan rituals in their churches, temples, mosques, and contact. Yeah, so it says 31, just as disease can be passed on, airborne or liquid, so also is the spirit being passed on. Yeah, and then it goes on to what I read before, where it says, verse 32, your inner ancestors will protect you once you open up to them and speak with those good in your DNA who have transformed from jasad, flesh, and damam, blood, to ka'a, spirit, and achak, ether. Yeah, and so the Flugeroids that you mentioned, so they were before the Canaanites. Yeah, so they were 8,400 years ago, and they were a product of the being we speak about called Yaqub. Okay, Yaqub was influenced, and his 2 brains were triggered by these Pleiadians, who gave him that idea to go about creating a diabolical, weak and wicked being, because he wanted to show that he was God and that over them, and that they will worship him. And because remember, if you go back to his whole story, being the product of the Teros and the Danakil, and his head was big and he had two brains, and he was teased by both sides, and so he wanted revenge, and he went about to prove to them that he was God. So that's what he did. He produced these flugerods, and then when we're dealing with the Canaanites, you're talking about the sons of Canaan. Yeah, the 11 sons, and they were afflicted with the curse of leprosy. All right, and this curse was it was a genetic curse, and that went back to because Noah, had sons, and as the story goes, he got drunk, and then they weren't supposed to look on, the children weren't supposed to look on their father's nakedness, and they did, and then from that, this curse and misinterpretation, people were saying that because it was the word Canaan or Canaan, he had the 11 sons, and one of them was Ham, which means black. But it didn't say cursed be Ham, it said cursed be Canaan. And so that curse manifested itself in him being an albino. But then later on, that then developed into being leprosy. You can read, if you read the whole of Leviticus, read the whole of Leviticus, but it goes into great detail about that curse. And so these Canaanites, because of his albino condition, he was melanin recessive. He couldn't really deal with the sun and, being on the lower plane. So he had to move to the mountains because the altitude was more conducive in terms of the weather for his condition. So when he was in the Caucasus Mountain, a lot of things were taking place. Bestiality was taking place, and eventually they then mixed in with those flugerods that were already in existence and produce, as you say, the different mixtures of beings. So yes, in that regard, they're doing, exactly what the Pleiadians, who were really their fathers or their overlords, because when you look at the whole Adamite story in the Bible and so on, when people think that Adam was the first man, there were different Adams at different points. And that Adam that they're talking about is Canaan of 6,000 years ago, or the birth of the Adamites, which was 6,000 years ago, by way of the Pleiadians trying to produce a food source to replace themselves being eaten, you see. So by that, they basically were allowed to produce these beings for food and to be workers or slaves as well for them, you see.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
The other question is, so with those albinos and Canaanites, would they fall in the group 2 as being wiped out with the 5, 6, and 7 ether beings?
That's another thing that is, it's not based on, it's based on, it's based on their nature, like the Adamites, but it's now the beings are being wiped out. It's not just those beings, but it's anyone who is living in the image and behaving like those beings. So the wiping out part is now really, yes, those 6 ether beings, those Adamites, they were only given 6,000 years. And so what they've managed to do is convince everyone, or shall I say, coerce everyone to live the way they live and do the things they do, so that they can then be a part of that judgment. Because it says, like, you know, if you live in the image and likeness of the beast, then you are now going to be on the menu as well. You're going to be, you know, food for the gods. But let me just read again on page 10, verse 66. It says, because wickedness and sinful ways are whispered into your Akal mind, and in your nature, after 6,000 years of mixing with the cursed seed of Canaanites, the Celtic and their many sub-races. 67. The wicked and sinful nature desires what is contrary to the Ba'ah soul, and the Ba'ah soul of 9 ether is contrary to the spirit and 6 ether, which is death. Yeah, Muth Yath, ghost. You see, so if you want to live, then you can't be doing things that are gonna bring about your demise. So anyone can be on the menu now, is what I'm saying. And the only way is to clean yourself inside out and to live by way of Wu-Sabat, if it's your true way of life, and avoid being on the menu or being wiped out, because the 6,000 years has expired as of the year 2000 AD. And this was also programmed into their telomeres. So the telomeres are the end of the chromosomes. And, you know, after 6,000 years, it brings about the fading. So the fertility rate has dropped to a point where it's irreversible. The diseases on the planet, the wars, and all of these things are part of the elimination of the Adamites, because, you know, as I said, it's extinction time and their time has come. But at the same time, anyone who's doing those things is also now a part of that. They have no protection. You follow?
Yes, yes. Last question. With all the disclosure that Trump has been releasing to everybody, and then they had the photo going online where it looks like he was talking with the Palladian, the tall whites. Mm-hmm. It seems like it's pretty much being done on purpose, also to suppress, to show the fact that everybody's talking about just only particular extraterrestrials. They're not showing and talking about the fact that the extraterrestrials that look like us are real and out there on purpose, so we won't feel good or prideful about ourselves, knowing that we have overseers that care or protect us. It's like they're not showing extraterrestrials that look like us. They're just showing extraterrestrials that look like everybody else, or everything else except for the ones that look like us.
Man, to be honest,
that's done on purpose.
Absolutely, but the thing is, they say it's not all over yet. Remember, disclosure has just begun, and so we already know who we are. I mean, you don't even have to, in terms of, like, look on the planet and look at our abilities and our creativity and the things that we are capable of doing, even without, you know, even if you said to people like, you know, we are extraterrestrials, we're the gods, we're the original, the first, we're the, which they know, because when you study all these things like, you know, DNA, but like we say, this whole black and white racism, it's a construct. But yeah, there's a lot of confusion and distortion as well, because obviously if, let's say you take a real picture and then share it online, and you have beings who their whole job is to dismiss everything, deny everything. It's called the legacy program, right? So, you know, I'm talking about, this has been going on from the 1940s. And check this out, the master teacher was born in 1945. It's since then that real activity, alien activity or UFOs started. You know, with even 1947 with the Roswell crash, and then from then on there were just so many crafts that came because of the world wars that were taking place, where America dropped the first atomic bomb, which risked splitting the planet in half, and the extraterrestrials that live here in the waters, in the skies, were concerned, and they had to intervene and step in. And from that point forward, many extraterrestrials have, you know, many visitations. So they may not want to disclose everything just yet, but as time goes on, you will see. But a master teacher has been disclosing information. I mean, you could go back and read the list of books that he put out. You know, it's got an extraterrestrials, extraterrestrials and creation, mystery clouds, are there UFOs in your midst, Mission Earth and the extraterrestrial involvement, my brother the extraterrestrial. The list just goes on and on and on. So, you know, he's been speaking, Man from Planet Risk. There's so many scrolls, and if you go and read them, you see that everything he was saying and talking about from his inception in terms of starting to teach from the 60s, every single thing he taught about is in the scrolls. So it's easy to go back and say, look, he said that in 1980s or 1970s, you know. So yeah, he's already been disclosing, and he is that extraterrestrial amongst us, and one of those black extraterrestrials, if you want to use that term. But when you're at this level, you have meetings with other beings from different galaxies, and you can read that in the Akasha records, you see. So different beings representing different galaxies meet up and they discuss things. They discuss the fate of this planet. They discuss, you know, who is in control. They discuss many, many things to do with the planet. And at that level, it's not about the silly arguments between people that are still behaving in a very uncivilized way. You know, it's talking about things on a higher level. How do we raise the consciousness of humanity so that they can embrace this new era we're in and be a part of the galactical community, so we can learn about intergalactical traveling, learn about how we can cure everything, learn about solving all the problems on the planet, you know, many, many things to bring about world peace, whilst others are trying to hold on to power, trying to hold on to, you know, fear and chaos, and projecting these old ways of separation and wars and all that stuff that has got to go if you're a highly intelligent, conscious being. Like, it doesn't make sense to suppress the entire world just because of, say, racism, or you don't want your people to know that there is a being here on the planet that has the answers of many things. But eventually, there's no way that it's going to be suppressed, because we're in that day and time of disclosure. We're in that day and time of exposure, and the truth will come out, because we are living in the days of truth. And so distortions also come along with that, because if I take a picture and I'm showing a picture of someone with extraterrestrial, the people that want to counteract that are going to circulate and, you know, flood the internet with false version or AI versions, and then now everyone's confused. No one knows what's real and what's not real anymore. So people are like, is that real? That picture with Donald Trump and the Pleiadian looking beings? Okay, how do you know it's true or it's not true? In time you will see, because these Pleiadians have been in contact with many, many beings over the years. So you just have to Google it, and now there are brotherhoods of people that speak about the Pleiadians and how they're in contact with certain ones. So, you know, time will tell, but it's definitely going to be exposed that, just like in anything else, we have our own extraterrestrials as other races have. And yeah, let's keep watching out for what more is being exposed and disclosed.
Right. Last little statement. Are we pretty much the only extraterrestrial group you would say that gets our energy from the sun, or are there other extraterrestrials that could withstand the sun and grab energy from the sun just like us?
Everything and everyone gets their energy from the sun, but at various degrees. We happen to be the ones that some people, they can't take it because it actually destroys their cells and kills them. This is why I mentioned about leproma and leprosy and not being able to you get skin cancer and you get burnt by the sun if you're not really of the sun. So we just have an abundant in terms of reproduction of melanin. Others do too. Everything and everybody has melanin, but it's only at small amounts, or they don't reproduce it as much as we do. So you have to think, okay, that may mean you're not meant to be under the sun. So you find a way to live without being exposed. And there were talks of, people trying to, like,
leave the planet or live in the earth.
Yeah, leave the planet, go under, or try to block the sun, which is futile because you're dealing with a huge atomic body that constantly transforms hydrogen into helium, and that we imagine we're so far away from it, like we're 93 million miles away from it, but the heat that we get, look out today. Well, in the UK today it was very hot. They're saying that it's going to be the hottest day of the year, and it's only like approaching 40 degrees. So in Africa, sub-Sahara desert, and many parts of Africa, and those that lie in the equator and that line, they get 80 degrees all year round. So it charges us up, it charges up our melanin. So yeah, we are definitely people of the sun. So
reason why I made that comment is I was at a theme park yesterday, and I was pretty much the only person that looked like me there, and everybody else was, like my palm color. And a kid came up to me and said, "Oh, your skin is glowing and glistening. You look like black gold or like a superhero." And jokingly, sarcastically, I was like, "Yeah, I am a superhero." And then like his parents or whatever kind of made a face, was getting upset, and they were sitting there spraying like suntan lotion and applying it on and trying to protect themselves, and everybody was like red and orange. And I was just like the only person looked like me, just walking around like it was nothing, because it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, these days it's not that simple either, because a lot of people have toxic melanin, and so you can be affected in a negative way now by the sun, which is why it's important to clean yourself inside out, because once the melanin is toxic, it doesn't actually perform as best as it can. But you can get healing from the sun also. Hence, Malachi chapter 4 verse 2, it said the Son of Righteousness, S-U-N, will come with healing in its wings. And that's, the being we is calling Malachi Zikeyo, Parnababianon. He's here with the healing in his wings and is teaching you these things. So because of the bad foods, the bad intakes, the bad music, the bad materials, fabrics we wear, the pollutions, there's so many things that are now affecting us to the point where our melanin is also toxic. So you have to learn how to clean yourself inside out. And some people, they're afraid of the sun because they use bleaching creams, and they're trying to live in the image of the beast instead of just being yourself. So you can then adversely affect yourself because you're now doing and eating and behaving and doing things that are not conducive for you to do as a supreme being. So that's why Wu-Sabat is here, and anyone who applies Wu-Sabat in their life is going to improve their life, both mentally, physically, spiritually, and any other way that you want to look at it, because it is a way of life that's given to you by the higher intelligence, supreme beings that, you know, like you say, they're not talking about. But eventually, you know, they'll be compelled to, you know, it's going to happen.
Right.
All
Well,
right.
thank you as always. Wadu.
Wadu Zamal. All right. Let's see what else we have in terms of questions. Wow, we have so many. Do you have any? Loads. All right, let me get through some of the ones in the chat. Okay, the people having conversations. I came across you. Okay, this is from Ernest New Williams. I came across you guys months ago, and I am very drawn to Wu-Sabat teaching. I am trying to get away from religion, and I want to order some of your books for more learning and guidance. Welcome, Ernest. You know, it's a gradual process. You know, you just have to, just start studying, reading, and learning as much as you can. Ask questions in the classes. Then there's another comment. Yeah, so in order to get the books, you can go to unitedsabiansworldwide.com or nashat.co.uk. Both of these links are in the chat. All right, to order books, etc. from online. Yeah, we know, we research. When you say research Rashad Jamal and let us know what you think of him, we're not really here to give our opinions on what we think of people and so on. We're literally here to answer questions about Wu-Sabat and share the knowledge that Pana Babyanun has taught us, and try and clarify who we are, what we're about, what we do, what we don't, because people, based on what they may have been into previously, they may confuse us or think we're this and think we're that. So we're here for you to ask us questions, directly. So we defend and answer questions about what we teach, not what other people teach. Along the way, there have been many people that have come along, and have shared certain information. But right knowledge is right knowledge. Truth is truth, as Pana Babyanun says. So wherever truth is coming from, we say that that's true. Because if it's true, it's true, Not when people try and have their versions of the truth, which when you scrutinize it and put it to the test and ask questions, it doesn't hold weight. And they start to duck and dive and make excuses or speak for, their deity and so forth. But Wu-Sabat is the real deal. We have a caller, Rahubat. Caller, what's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question, please?
Rahubat Sakin, this is Rita from California.
Rahubat Zamalta.
So I have a layered question, and I've been thinking about this for a while, and I wanted to know, piggybacking off of what Dre was saying, with regards to the Canaanites, there are melanated, like 9 ether Canaanites, correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Okay. But so are they? But do melanated people can become disagreeable and take on the Canaanite trait? Is that correct?
Correct. And there are black devils too. So yes.
Okay. And when you say black devils, are they just 9 ether beings that are just disagreeable?
Great question. There are 2 types in terms of, you can be a devil by conversion and you can be a devil by nature. And when we say by nature, those would be when we say black, we're really dealing with the original East Indian, all right? Because they are black too in terms of their complexion. The difference is that their hair is 6 ether, you see? And so this is where, when we're saying Asian and we're saying Caucasian, it's because when you look at the 3 root races, the Nagaru are not what we're referring to as black. The term was then given to us, and if you know the major teachers such as Noble Jew Ali and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who were both founders of the Moorish Science Temple by way of Noble Jew Ali, and then the Nation of Islam by way of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they were teaching about Asiatic black man, and they thought that was relating to us. But we're not from Asia, we're from Africa. So this was where the term black, because we, as in our color, is not really black. It's a state. It's a state that when you combine all colors, and before there was light, we were in that supreme balancement known as darkness. Yeah. And so that's why when you start to talk about light comes out of darkness, because the scriptures, the monotheistic religion say God said let there be light. And the question used to be asked by us, well, if God said let there be light, what was he dwelling in? Because this whole thing about light and dark then manifests itself into light and dark people. And then the constructs of black and white then get applied to that. And then, you know, lighter people push the narrative that light, white, bright is good, but black, dark is bad, when that's not the case. Because when you start looking at it, this is just a construct to divide people, because when you want to sleep, get a good sleep, you turn off the lights. You always return back to darkness. When you're in your mother's womb, you're in darkness. So everything that is in the, you know, when you want to be in tranquility, you go into darkness. So we know that these were just games. But when we said Canaan, remember Canaan was a black person. It's just that he lost the melanin and was an albino. Yeah, and then from that albino, it became the curse of leprosy. And that leprosy is what still happens today. They call it leproma. And the term, medical term, is Hansen's disease, which is not a coincidence, because it's Ham's son's disease, which is Ham's son was Canaan. So, yeah, so when we're saying about beings of melanated, everything is melanated. It's just that we are dominant in melanin, and we produce more melanin, and it actually enhances with the sun, because we have something known as sun heat genes, which came by way of the sun, and the planet came from the sun, and it had to take time to cool down when it was spat out from the sun. So the original beings would have been from the sun, and then we cool down, and that eventually kind of like watered down and watered down and watered down to what we see the different races on the planet. So the Caucasus Asian comes from the East Indian, and then they come from us, but it then goes outside the planet to the different like I said, constellations and different galaxies, and where we come from. And we come from Orion, Sirius, and Parnababyanun from the planet Risk, which is in the galaxy Ilion, which is the 19th galaxy. And our ancestors, the Natharu, they are really those supreme beings that they're very responsible for the cosmos and everything, not just you know, the one planet. But I know I don't want to digress too much from your question. Did I answer your question?
No. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, did I answer your question?
Oh, yes, you did. So, you know, the can.
Sorry, you're choppy. I think we may have lost you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can
you're
you hear
back.
me?
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay. So, hold on 1 second. Okay. So the Canaanite, they have, I guess what I'm trying to make the distinction, because we have, you know, when you speak about the Adamites, the Adamites are 5 ether beings. Is that correct?
No, they're 5 and 6 ether being. It's just that the male are 5 ether, and the females are
women are
6
6.
ether. Yeah, but then
Okay.
you also have Dravidians who are 7 and 8 ether beings, right? And then you have us that are 9 ether, and so there are some parts where the master mentions 7 ether because those Dravidians that have got 6 ether also mixed with and produce 7 ether. So you have the 3 root races, but with the mixtures of those with other races, they can then become a part of those ethers that they're mixing with. You follow? So for
Yes.
example, if a 6 ether Adamite mixes with a 9 ether, then they now inherit the ability to become 9 ether by way of their DNA, and they can then ride that 9 ether being because they become one. They mix with that person, they become one with that person. So the 9 ether being is actually losing by coming down and sharing his, he loses for lack of a better word, one of the seats, and then she takes that on. You follow?
Yes, I do. Okay, and then the Canaanites, are they considered, because I know with albinism, and I see in all of the 3 major groups that you can get, you know, albinism is seen in all of those groups. But with the Canaanites, are they 9 ether beings? Just
No.
with the albinism, or?
Okay, so when we're saying like there are traits, genetic traits that will because for example, if you have Down syndrome, then it doesn't matter whether you're an Adamite, an Edomite, or Canaanite. You will look, because it's just a switching on and off of genes, right? So you will look like every one of the people with that trait will look the same, whether they're, you know, dark skin or light skin. They will all have the same trait. So it's the same with being an albino. Is the same also. Yeah, that you can be you could be a 9 ether albino, you can be a 6 ether albino, you can be a Dravidian albino. The scroll I've got here called Intelligent Design. Yeah, I don't know if you've got this scroll. Intelligent Design, Divine Design, or Plot of Aliens kind of goes into breaking this down in more detail. I don't have like the time to go through it all, but we could read some of it. So today on the planet you have the Sans people who genetically they have traits that everyone else on the planet has borrowed from. So if I'm going to read from page 14, and it says the nappy, in fact, let me go back just a little bit to the My bad, just an alarm. Okay, so I'm going to read from 33. It says, Parkakasu, the Caucasoid, now know then all humanoids originated from the South African Sans people or Bushmen, also of Botswana. 34. All traits of the humanoid races have these genetic markers that indicate who is who, and not being able to physically recognize these traits is what lets you know that race is washing out. And it says 35, for example, the creased forehead of the Australu Aborigine is found in the Sans people. 36, the eyes of the Oriental is found on the Sans people. 37, the dimpled chin of the Dravidians Indians of Asia, the original black East Indian, and Adaman elder, who has the dimpled chin and nappy hair, also found in the Sans people of South Africa. 38, the nappy hair of the Nagaru Negroid is also found in the Sans people. 39, the only humanoid traits you will not find in the Sans people is the blue eyes and flank hair, those traits being from another gene pool and is not naturally occurring in the Fatir al-Fatar, natural nature. 40, they also now know that something or someone interfered with DNA once some were outside of Afafreye Ka'a, Africa. 41. The result being unknown DNA found in some races or unknown species they can't trace back. All they thought they knew about humanoids is now wrong. 42. They also now know their religious stories of creation as found in the Bible and Quran is not for all humanoids. 43. That the Bible and the Quran is only one short story of a hybrid race called the Adamites, the ruddy race made in the year 3761 BCE by their own learned rabbis' records, that makes the race or tribes of the Bible and Quran the youngest breed on earth. 44. The Adamite race of hybrids is only 6,000 years old, and the root of most disease, virus, that once they mix with others spread. 45. The races that predate the Adamu Salau or Adamite race, now many subspecies are Negroids, blacks, pre-Adamite, Aborigine, brown, prehistory, Indians, brown, Hu, men, Asian, yellow. 46. The last race to be made 6,000 years ago was Adamite, Nordic, white, humans kind, history, Caucasoid ruddy beast, right? 47. Their Bible calls them 1. Adamites, 2. Edomites, and then this is where your question ties in. 3. Canaanites, lepers. Both words are the same in meaning by roots. The white race, ruddy, flush, fair, rosy, Adam. And then it goes on. Later in the Bible, Quran, they or some of them were cursed. This is what I'm talking about with the curse of leprosy, right? Genesis 9:25. And he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. The result was barasi, leprosy. Leviticus 13. That's why I said before, read the whole of Leviticus 13, 1 to 59. Leper as white as snow. Safir farar, thin hair, which meant fur like all other animals. Leviticus 14:34. When ye be come into the land of Canaan, which I give to you for a possession, and I put the plague of leprosy in the house of the land of your possession. 49. This is the origin of the last race on earth as recorded in their own religious history, right? And then I'm going to stop in a minute, but it goes on. 50. They now know that ancient humanoids bred with unknown species. They uncovered a new species they called a Denisovan, a group first discovered in Siberia or the Middle East in 2010 AD, 51, and they contain unknown DNA, not linked to known DNA. This is just one of many found. 52, the Caucasoid do not want to make these actual facts known because they now know they were made, grafted, and only 6,000 years ago. Right? 53, they have also uncovered scrolls in 1947 AD called the Dead Sea Scrolls, which expose lost books of their now Bible and Quran that tell stories they don't want public, as well as expose stories of the New Testament, Shakasu people, and more on how Jesus had a Hamatat wife and 2 Karadu children by Mary of Mamluha, Ethiopia. Things they don't want exposed, and even worse, now they know that their Bible and Quran were taken out of the Sumerian stone tablets, which was found in 1845 AD. I mean, it goes on and go into more detail, as I said. So you have to differentiate the different species of the Adamites and how the mixtures have taken place, where you can have melanin, everybody has melanin, but that doesn't make you a 9 ether. And in terms of hair texture, we're the only ones with 9 ether hair. And that's our unique trait on the planet. Like we were saying, the different traits that are borrowed from the Sans people with, you know, different races. But, you know, the Asians, the Denisovans, they have that epiphode on the eyes, and they also, you know, they have the dimpled chin and so. But I took a lot of time on that question. So do you have anything else before we move on?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to ask really quick, because you were talking about what's real and, you know, what's not. I was wondering if, you know, people or individuals that have authority in the public sphere, or whether they're celebrities, are they, is it staged for us and to, because I know that, you know, energy is currency, and when we see it and react to it, I'm just wondering what's staged and what's not, to determine what's real and what's not. And it seems celebrities and people of authority are part of this just game, and we're, you know, onlookers seeing this take place and being manipulated if we don't realize what's happening.
Yeah, a lot of people are under the spell. That's why they don't know what's happening, because they don't take the time to study, research, and so that their eyes are open to be able to discern things, you know, by way of your being. You are actually an antenna. You are a tuning fork, and you can pick up vibrations and frequencies, and you should be by now able to know and discern if you've evolved yourself, because the more you tune yourself in, the more you can see through the spell. So when we're saying celebrities, you have to remember that there are many industries that are created, and people are paid and bought. There are people that are taken out of circulation and replacements of clones, or, you know, so many things that are now happening, that we live in a world where, you know, they're bending reality and distorting things. So, you know, like you can see, like someone can see a clone and know and feel that that person is not the same person that I used to know or see years ago. And, you know, there are many whistleblowers and people that are showing, you know, and telling you, like, you know, that's not the same person. And it is a game to some of these extraterrestrials, and they see how far they can push, you know, social experiments, and to see whether people are awake or not awake, you know. But I think those who are in tune, they know and feel that something is not right, because, or they're able to see through the facade, you know, like, like you can tell and know, like, okay, you've given us something, but you haven't gone all the way, and you're withholding more, and we know, we can feel it. And So it's going to become more and more so as the consciousness, it's a collective consciousness as well. So, you know, people that are waking up are helping to wake other people up. And, you know, many people are tuning in now to Wu-Sabat because all we do is teach and tell you the truth. We don't, just to clear it up, we're not here to recruit people. It's your choice. You find out for yourself and make your choice. We don't do it. We expose everything, not just the fallacies of, you know, religious dogma, but just literally like give you the actual facts. And it's down to you whether or not it resonates with you, because once you're in tune, you will feel it. You will know for yourself. Toa?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I just would have one last question about coming together in unity. If we, like all the etheric beings, and I know that in every group, whether it's 5th or 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th ether being, that there's disagreeable and agreeable. But I know that there is a Mother Earth is resetting. It's, you know, herself.
Yep. That's what we're saying.
Planned by the.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, and there's the Adamites are, or the people who are quote unquote in power, have their own reset plan. The thing though, is there any way for us to stop what's happening? I understand when you say to make the most of ourselves, to study, to clean our bodies, all of those things. But, you know, in terms of earthquakes and all of these kinds of, is there anything that we can do to stop the plan that is taking place in terms of, you know, the devastation that it could cause? You know, we hear about earthquakes happening, flooding again, all of these kinds of things, and it's put out into the public space, and people hear this, and then there's fear that goes with that.
That's why. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what can be done, because I feel like all of what you're saying, I absolutely am in alignment with it. But I know that a lot of people either are not aware or don't know what to do with the information outside of, you know, taking care of themselves. Is there more, is what I'm asking.
Yes, of course, there is more. And you have to remember that the planet, people say Gaia or Earth, it's a living entity itself. And it's also transforming and changing, and it's going to do what it needs to do to survive. And so it's kind of like, imagine when you're sick or there's disease in your body and you're trying to get rid of it. So your first call is preservation of self. So you're going to do whatever you need to do. So the earthquakes, the tornadoes, and all of these things are Mother Earth's way of cleansing itself too. But as you say, there is more, because you have a guide, or we have a guide, and that guide is Pana Babyanun, and he will guide you, and by way of you being in tune with nature, nature will protect you, because we say Mother Nature, and Mother, it's our mothers, are those who live on the planet. So if you start to do what you need to do, you become in tune with it, it will protect you. But the ultimate thing is gathering and a collective consciousness of people that want to make a change. And by doing that, we can make the change. But we have to gather and come together and work together and do the things that we need to do to be able to change the fate of the planet. Our ancestors and those who have crossed over are also working with us from the other side, because you become a part of nature anyway when you cross over. So that's why in Wu-Sabat, we can only focus and deal with our culture and what we teach and how we live and how we, act. And anyone can join in. But, it doesn't matter who you are on the planet. It starts from within you internally. Like, there has to be that that activation that you decide and say, you know, that's true. That's truth over there. I want to live truth, follow truth, help others wake up and so forth. Because a lot of the times it's the small minority that is ruling over the majority. Because when you're not awake, you're asleep, you're a slave. So you have to decide, like, one day something's got to trigger you, and it may just be OSM Vision or the master teacher's voice or a book or a scroll or someone else. Anyone that is speaking truth that resonates is going to touch you. And then the next step is, what do you do about it? You know, most people can choose to pretend and say ignorance is bliss and continue to do the things that are harmful, that are not helping them elevate, or they choose to start making change straight away, you know, mentally, physically, spiritually, and the journey begins. And then you meet other like minds that are doing the same thing, and collectively you can change the world. And that's what we're doing, one day at a time, one question at a time, and one video at a time.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Tawatak and Ashok.
And
really thank you for all you're doing.
Tua Tawutat. All right.
Wadu.
Achros Wadu. Okay. How are we doing for questions? Do you have any questions?
So, I was trying to ask some question about how the earth was created and how the humans appear.
How the what was created?
First of all, so that was my question.
Okay.
Earth created and how did humans appear?
Yeah.
So what is it? What do you fancy? Open the delivery.
Sorry, the advert just popped up. Okay. I'm gonna answer that question. Give me 1 second, right? You see, the thing is, that's a big question, and there's a lot to unpack. What I'm gonna do is just go through just the content of the holy tablets, because many may not be familiar with the holy tablets. I've had mine for many years, and you know, I'm restoring it, keeping it together. I'm just going to read some of the chapters of the holy tablets and not go into it, because even this has expired in terms of the time period when this was put out. It's still a useful resource like anything else that the master teacher has put out. But this is chapter 1, right? It's called the creation. And it begins with tablet 1, and it's called the epic of creation and before. Then tablet 2 is the beginning. Tablet 3, the story of Lucifer. Tablet 4, the war in the skies. Tablet 5, the journey of Nibiru. Tablet 6, the origin of the moon. Tablet 7, the creation of your solar system. Tablet 8, life forms on Tiamat, Earth. So that ties straight away to your question, but look how many other chapters before we even get to that, right? Tablet 9, the evolutionary process. Tablet 10, the replenishing of Tiamat, or Tiamat. Tablet 11, the firmaments. Tablet 12, the new being. Tablet 13, the fashioning of the Adam, Cadmon. Tablet 14, in our image and after our likeness. Then it goes on to chapter 2. And in chapter 2, you got tablet 1, a mission to the planet Earth. Tablet 2, the revolt. Tablet 3, the birth of slaves. Tablet 4, Adam, a slave made to order. Tablet 5, the death of a slave. Tablet 6, the prayer of the slaves. That's just chapter 2. Chapter 3 goes into tablet 1, Nagal and Orishkigal, right? The chosen physician, the trustworthy, the disagreeable Kuthites. Okay, like I said, we could pick any of those chapters and go into great detail. The Dogons and the serious mystery, the Hogon, that's tablet 6. Tablet 7, These are my tears. Tablet 8, the Garden of Paradise. Tablet 9, the faithful ones. Then we go into chapter 4. Tablet 1, Enuma Elish, Epic of Creation. Tablet 2, Enuma Elish 2. Tablet 3, Anshar speaks to Kacha. Tablet 4, Enuma Elish 2. Then we go into chapter 5. Tablet 1, Gan, or chapter 5 is called Gan, the Enclosed Garden. Tablet 1, the formation of Cadman and Nekeba. Tablet 2, the four rivers. Tablet 3, the Enclosed Garden. Tablet 4, the reptilian Nakash. Tablet 5, two gates of the Enclosed Garden. Tablet 6, the Enlil and Ninlil. Tablet 7, a tale of a human being. Tablet 8, patience. Tablet 9, the fall of the Adamite. Then we go into chapter 6, which is called the human beast. Tablet 1, the affirmation. Tablet 2, the prisoner. Tablet 3, the mission. Tablet 4, the wonders. Tablet 5, the name. Tablet 6, the whisperer. Tablet 7, the seventh state. Tablet 8, the artist. Tablet 9, the ass and the camel. Tablet 10, the mortals. Tablet 11, the identification. Tablet 12, the master of change. Tablet 13, the illuminous. Tablet 14, the secret. Tablet 15, the Dajjal. Tablet 16, the hell. Tablet 17, the judgment. Chapter 7, a lot of tablets in this one. Tablet 1, the living soul. Tablet 2, the seed of Cadman. Tablet 3, the spiritual form. Tablet 4, ether. Tablet 5, the laws of health. Tablet 6, the reproductive process. Tablet 7, the forces of will. Tablet 8, the inner sight, the mortal man. Tablet 9, the ego. Tablet 10, the power of thought. Tablet 11, health and relaxation. Tablet 12, diet. Tablet 13, concentration. Tablet 14, pleasure and the mind. Tablet 15, the more it possesses, the more it wants. Tablet 16, saving energy. Tablet 17, attention. Tablet 18, from the unreal to the real. Tablet 19, self. Tablet 20, El Elo, the Most High. Tablet 21, Anu, oneness. Tablet 22, the Creator. Tablet 23, freedom, reality, truth. Tablet 24, that thou art. Tablet 25, love. Tablet 26, the mind. I want to see if I can get through all of them. Nah, I'm not going to get to. I'll stop and we can carry on. Maybe do. These are just the chapters. So the Holy Tablets was the conclusion and bringing about the expiration of religion. So this is communicated everything, all they were trying to tell you, but couldn't tell you, and in great detail. So people want to talk about the Ethiopian Bible. People want to talk about all the books that are missing from the Bible. People want to talk about the Bible, the Quran, the New Testament, the Old Testament, the Enuma Elish, the Gilgamesh epics, the tablets of Akkadian tablets, Atrahasis. All of that was completed in this to bring about the ending of the 6,000 years of religion. And so this then expired in the year 2000 as we moved into the hereafter doctrine, because then the master was now taking us to giving us what he came to give, which is actual facts, Partaruk, and the master's secrets, which is taking you to a higher level of this. So this book, the Holy Tablets, it's 1,707 pages, diagrams, everything you want to learn about all those books of the Adamites that have expired in the last 6,000 years. The Yaqub story is in here, clearer than you will ever get it from anyone. So what we're saying to you is that when we say things have expired, it means that the time period in which it was necessary has expired, and we move on to something else that is more conducive and for now. So that's what Wu-Sabat is, all right? But in terms of, to kind of summarize the answer for your question, the earth, what you're calling the earth today, is a ball that broke off from the explosion of a sun that existed, and that sun exploded from another sun. And when these suns, they are birthed, they live, they grow, they burn out, and you get supernovas. And we're not going to get time to go into all of that today, but what happens is when an explosion takes place, the debris from that explosion gets thrown out, and the mass, the magnetic pull of the mass pulls or hold things in their orbit as they're still attracted and connected to that mass. They stop, they take time to cool off, and in the spinning, they form what you call an orb, and they cool down. Then the conditions become perfect for the prototype of the living cell. You go through protozoa, the amoebas, the algae, and life form evolves over time. But that DNA, the life forms that's coming from that planet, that sun that exploded to form that planet. So in the Holy Tablets, you're going to learn about Om, right? And then how Sal came out. And then you get Sal and Arena and beings that existed in those time periods, which again picks up in the Black Book. Yeah, I think I will just read a little bit of this that will answer your question. So the introduction of Black Book Part 1, it starts off. Before time as you know it was logged, beings existed in and out of this dimension. Worlds existed. Planets were inhabited by intelligent and not so intelligent beings who all lived in their own time zones based on their locations in this vast, boundless universes. Each place is in itself the place or origin of time, as in the word then, which becomes past and present simultaneously. These were agreeable and disagreeable beings. This was a system that was very similar to that presently on Earth, called the chain of existence that existed, whereas stars burnt out and planets died, and beings had to seek residence in other star systems. Oftentimes, we redeveloped new survival tactics, eating habits, and even genetic alterations. I know someone's waiting on the call, but I just want to finish this. Genetic alterations and manipulations to make it possible for us to exist in environments unsuited for our biological existence. We oftentimes had to alter environments, create climates and seasons. And then it goes on to explaining what took place and how this planet was terraformed, and then different species, different trees and insects and things were brought to this planet to make it into the different types of environment to allow different beings to coexist on this planet. So by the time you get to what you're calling the Bible, Quran and all that, they're telling you a very, very watered down story, missing millions and millions of years of information, and bring it down to a being creating the whole world in 6 days, which is ludicrous. But you know, keep tuning in, keep coming into the classes, and we can go into more detail, because we are, time is of the essence. All right, I see someone's been holding on for a long time. Rahubat Kola, what's your name, where you're calling from, and what's your question, please?
Hello, I hope you're well. My name is Grace, and I'm all the way from South Africa. I've been watching your videos, so I'm very happy to be able to be on this call with you. So my question is, I've been having a lot of dreams, and I see past ones like my father and my grandmother, and I'm really in a space where I need some knowledge about what happens when how do we deal with these kind of dreams, because I come from a Christian background, but at the same time I'm currently seeing someone who's also a tradition. So I'm not sure if you're aware, in Africa, when it comes to our ancestors, we will usually take things like this very seriously, but because I come from a Christian background, usually they're demonic, and I'm just trying to find a place to start doing my own research. I was asking if you could guide me on which books maybe, or which YouTube videos to watch, because I'm really confused right now.
Okay, thank you for your question. You're in the right place. The first thing to do is start watching all the videos, as we've addressed and answered many questions. We always ask people to recognize that dreams are your dreams and messages for you, and we can give you guidance in terms of to help you in terms of recording your dreams, like having a notebook or pad next to you so that you can document it, because it is for you to figure out. We don't really go into your personal dreams and try and interpret them or tell you this means this or this means that, unless we were in the dream with you, which makes it a part of our dream too. But the first thing is to start studying the scrolls, and there are scrolls that, when we say scrolls, people, it's synonymous with books, so that you can learn about the different aspects, like the 30 spirits is one I mentioned and I referenced today. We have, so this is a series called the Pataruk, and there are a series of different books covering a lot of the spiritual aspect, or the way that we live by way of Wu-Sabat. And then we have another series called the Actual Facts, because we give you the facts of what things are and not what we believe or our opinions. And a fact is a fact. So, or we say an actual fact, which is a fact that is current right now. So unfortunately, there is no shortcut. You have to study, you have to do the work, you have to start to learn for yourself. And we make ourselves available as much as possible to help you along your journey. So we have these live classes, we have classes every Saturday, we have classes all around the world. And if possible, if you're close, I know you say you're in Africa, and we have a great work to do to make sure that we're going to have communities close to you or around the world where anybody from any walk of life can go and learn more. But because you're new, don't, like you say, don't stress out, don't be confused. It can be a little bit overwhelming, because a lot of what people have been taught is misinformation over the years, or distorted information, or misinterpretations. And so it takes time for you to actually kind of like clear out the confusion from your mind. So we've got books like, The Mind, Your Potential, but in terms of the hereafter doctrine is those main category of books I mentioned. So that's the Master Secrets, the Pataruk, and the Actual Facts. So the Pataruk goes into the like you say, spirit, sex force, spirit force, 30 spirits. So it goes into a lot of topics that relate to what you're asking about. And remember that, like you say, the African traditions, it really ties into culture, but nowadays there have been infiltrators or other cultures or other people that have, like I said, mixed their way with what we're calling our way in terms of African traditional or culture. So Wu-Sabat is the culture that predates all of them, is where most of them borrowed from. But there's a lot. I mean, you just have to start where you can by, learning the way, and then it will be clear. But also attending classes, as I said, attend classes regularly, keep asking questions to different teachers, and you will, you start to learn and find your way. Did that help?
All right. Yes, yes. Where can I attend these classes? Is it still on TikTok, or do I follow the links that I've received?
Yes.
A channel member.
The links that are in the chat, so that takes you to our official Telegram group, and then you can you can stay in contact with us through the group, asking questions. There's already a lot of information from previous questions, and we have a whole database of information in there already. So you can just search for some of the questions you have, and there will be already many student teachers answering that question. So that's a good place to start. And I think, some people, they don't really take heed in terms of what we are posting in the chat. The Telegram group is the official. It says join the official Wu-Sabat Telegram for live updates and direct access to student teachers, because we're all in the group and you can ask us questions anytime. Although we have different time zones and sometimes we are very busy, so don't expect it's not Google. It's not instantaneous, but sometimes one of the student teachers is awake, or at, that time you ask the question, maybe just to be able to answer it for you straight away. So that's number one. So you stay in touch, and when we can recommend, different books and scrolls, and you get kept up to date with events and things that are taking place, around the world as well. So, all right.
All right. Highly appreciated. Thank you very much for answering my question.
No problem. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
All right. I've landed the...
I've got 2 I need to play.
2, yeah?
Is that right?
Okay, that will be the last 2. Go ahead.
Raubat second. This is Sipose 2 from South Africa. I would like to ask a question, Mr. Second, regarding the dolphins. I would like to know, sir, if the original people, as it is said that they were seeded through the dolphins, as it is said. So I would like to know, Mr. Second, how did the dolphins themselves originate? What is their origin? How did they came into existence and evolve? And if humanity was brought to this planet through them. So does that mean dolphins are not actually from Earth? That is my question to you, Mr. Second. Thank you, sir.
Tua, it's not humanity was brought to Earth. To answer your question directly, given time constraints, dolphins are not from Earth. And when you see something today, you have to recognize that it has evolved. Even us, we're not the same as we were a million years ago. So the dolphins were from, they're actually called Vulcans. They were from another planet, and they were brought down here. It's like, let me give you an example. So, for example, when we talk about dogs, so you see a dog today, mainly what you're seeing is domesticated dogs, right? But the dog has its roots in the wolf, you see. And one of the jokes that the master shared with us is like, dogs are constantly telling you that they're wolves. That's why they say woof, woof, but we ignore it. And I'm saying that to say everything that you're seeing today is not exactly what it was. So, for example, again, like you might look at a pig today, and the pig you're seeing today is not the same. So these were Vulcan beings, right, that we're calling dolphins today. And the planet itself, as I mentioned before, has had many names, many changes. It's been known by the name I mentioned before. We say Earth now, but that comes from Ard, A-R-D, or Irith, or it comes from the word, another word, Terra, or Tiamat. Gaia, or Gaia, it's been known by many, many names, yeah, over the years. So there was life forms on the planet, but when we're talking about our life form, as in the original humanoid beings, this is where we're saying that the DNA comes from our ancestors. And remember what I read in the Black Book Part 1, there were times where catastrophes took place, stars burned out, and people had to evacuate and find refuge in other star systems. And so they would go to somewhere else. Sometimes they would go somewhere and ask, just like today when there are wars going on in other countries, people go to other countries and they do everything to escape what's going on, like, you know, the boats, and they'll, you know, if they say illegal immigrants or whatever. But if you have to find refuge somewhere, you've got to do what you've got to do. So these beings, when their stars collapsed or there was something that meant they had to go somewhere else, they had to learn to build crafts, because you're dealing with traveling from one galaxy to another or one planet to another, etc., etc. So we're saying that this planet, our ancestors came here way, way, way before. They were the first being on the planet. And then when they had this emergency situation, they then decided, in order for life to continue, what they were going to do is seed another planet. Because sometimes that's what happens. It's like, even today, like, the reason people are mixing with other people is because if they know that they're going to become extinct, the best way to continue surviving is to mix with other people that will produce offspring and still carry on that genealogy. So what they decided to do as a part of the evacuation process was to take their DNA and put it into a capsule, put it into the dolphin, and then transport those dolphin beings to this planet. There were beings already here when it was purely a water planet, because of there was an incident that took place, right? So there were beings known as the troglodytes, for example, but they were different from us, right? There are pictures in the books and in the holy tablets showing you what the troglodytes look like. They were living in the seas, right? So there were other types of aquatic beings already here, but not in the form like we are. And so they put those their DNA in the capsule, and when the dolphin was here, this was by design. It melted, right, and germinated the water to start life. It's just like you can take bread, yeah, or yeast, or leave it in a bag. You see that it will become moldy. It's going to form mold, and after that, you look at that mold, you're going to see it germinate and start a form of life. So they already knew how to set this chain of existence in motion, and that's what happened. So then we evolved over millions of years. It wasn't just like it happened overnight. Then we became amphibians, beings that can come out of the water, go into the water. Eventually, I'm giving you the short version, eventually things like the tsunami took place, where beings were thrown out of the water onto sea, out of the sea, the water onto land. And some were so far away from the water they couldn't get back. So they evolved. Some were in the trees, some were on land, and then they evolved as you do. When you find yourself in a situation, as I read in the Black Book, Part 1, they learned how to, as he said, like, carry out genetic manipulations and just environmental changes to make it conducive. When you have to survive, you find ways of doing it. So yes, to answer your question, those are Vulcan beings. They came from the planet Vulcan, and there were other beings in other star systems or galaxies and so forth before our one solar system, our one galaxy with our one planet called Earth. amongst other planets, you know, Mars, Jupiter, what's other planets? Neptune, etc. They all came out of that explosion that I mentioned previously. All right, so you said you had 2, so what's the last one?
How do you reconcile the part where Jesus did not exist in real time and that he was an invention of the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, whereas Yahuwah was the one who was going around doing miracles during the time where Jesus was supposed to have lived? What do you know about that?
I think when she said Yahuwah, she meant Yeshua. We've answered this question so many times, and I'm going to try and answer it in a way that can, I guess, be as simple as possible. Okay, what we do is we read books and reference books, and a lot of times people get caught in the book as if the book is real, okay? It's the same as watching a character develop over time, or like watching a movie and then within that movie, so let's call the movie the book, and within the movie you have several different characters. You have the lead role, and you have other supporting actors and actresses, and the story starts off, a lot of the times it's, you know, you've got it's a dramatic starting to get you hooked in, to get your attention. And if you're into the movie, you sit there and you're engulfed and in tune in the movie. Now, let's say that movie may be a movie about Mickey Mouse, or let's say a movie about Superman, right? There's a character, it could be a movie about Father Christmas, because it is a story. It is a story that has been retold over and over and over again. And the thing is, if you're not aware of it, that, like say Superman has had many people play that. You start off with Superman in black and white movies where, you know, you had like Christopher Reeve, you've had many people, or even James Bond, like you've had many people play that part. And that story has evolved to the point where now it's in using the latest technologies in Technicolor, and it's got, you know, like the sound effects and the effects generally are so good that you actually don't remember when, well, you may not have lived at that time period anyway, to see when Superman only flew like this and it was just a caption and his cape just flying, where now it will appear to you and it will look so real that Superman can fly. And you have to know the whole story. Where did the story start, right? So Superman comes from another planet, Krypton. You know, his family's home is, like I said, becoming extinct. The parents decide we want to save our baby. They put him into a capsule, and which is like a craft, and they send him to Earth, blah, 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 blah. Okay, now the character changes over time, the same like Mickey Mouse. And if you were born only like last year and you are watching Superman or Mickey Mouse, or you're being told the story of Father Christmas, you're not going to know where it came from. I know I'm being long about this. It's because this thing about Jesus and the Bible and the stories in the Bible and how people have been duped into believing it, they don't realize it was made up from real stories that actually existed, that have been regurgitated, remixed and remixed and remixed and remixed. By the time you're getting hold of it in the last 6,000 years, to the last 400 years, to the last 100 years, to today, you're hearing stories of a God, of a creation that you believe is real, but it's not real. It's based on the previous story. So when we say Jesus and the whole kind of like New Testament stories, they have been rewritten and being retold by Josephus Piso and his family. You can research, Google this. Piso is P-I-S-O. Josephus is like Joseph with us, or US at the end. And that's just the remix of the story. But when you go to the origins of where the story is coming from, it's borrowed from different places to form what you're calling the New Testament. So how can you renew or give a New Testament? Okay, so there's nothing you can read in the New Testament that is really substantiated with evidence unless it's pointing to something from before. So it has to always tie into the previous story. So then you will go into the Old Testament, and that's a story again that's been retold and retold and retold, and the characters have changed over time. And you say, okay, where did the... So in fact, I kind of skipped the Quran, because the Quran would be the youngest of them, being only 1400 years old, all right? There's nothing in the Quran that you can't find in the New Testament or the Old Testament. Like there's nothing in the New Testament that you cannot find in the Old Testament, and nothing in the Old Testament that you cannot find where they came from in terms of the Sumerian stories and tablets and information. And there's nothing in them that doesn't end up going back to ancient Egypt. And when I say ancient Egypt, I'm talking about the roots of Egypt, pre-dynastic, where we can give you the correlation between, like I said, anything you can think of, the flood story, all right? Even, let's start with Genesis. The Genesis starts with a flood story, which most people don't recognize. And that flood story goes back to when on high in the Sumerian books. The Noah stories going back to Utnapishtim in the Sumerian story, which is going back to the Senefru story in ancient Egypt. So in Sumeria, you have the Muzi, Tammuz, or the Muzi, Ishtar, and Tammuz. That becomes your story in the Bible of God the Father, Mary, and Jesus. And if you go back past Sumeria, you're going to end up in ancient Egypt, which is going to be Osiris, Isis, and Horus, which are Greek renditions, or another mixed version, they're telling it in their way, which goes back to Ashtat, or we say Osir, or Asar, Ashtat, and Hara. And you can keep doing this throughout the different cultures. It's the repeat of the same story with different names, different characters. The language changes as we go along. You see, so going backwards, you say Isa in the Arabic Quran, which they say in, obviously they fight amongst each other. The Christians won't accept Isa as being Jesus. Then that Isa becomes Jesus in the Romans and the Greeks, which is from Yeshua, from the Hebrew, because you can't have J's or V's. That Yeshua goes into, as I said before, to the Tammuz story, to the Hara story, or the Horus story. So we can literally, that's why I said the Holy Tablets is the completion of all of the stories that they're trying to tell you, but from the origins of where they came from. All right, so I know I took a lot of time, but it's because you have to look at it like I'm only reading a new version that has been watered down over and over again, and the people are not real, they're characters. And how do you know? Because when you start to ask for the evidence of their bodies and their DNA and their tombstones and the recordings of who was there, it's all hearsay. It's all stories that people have told until you get to the source, which will produce the evidence of the real people in ancient Egypt. You follow me, or what people are calling Egypt. But we go beyond Egypt to the stars. And so I hope that really helps you to come out of the spell of, because what happens is once you're in the movie, in the book, then now imagine you finish watching the movie and then you go and talk to someone else that has watched the movie. You're going to go, oh, did you see that part? No, I missed that part. Oh, yeah, when this happened and that happened, and then you're relaying the story, and then you'll be like, oh, is that Star Wars 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6? And the characters change, but the main characters will always remain the same, the stars of the movie. So it's, you know, you're going to still have Luke Skywalker and, you know, the main characters. It's the same. Jesus is the main character in that book. Muhammad is the main character in the Quran. Moses is the main character in the Old Testament. They're just characters, all right? Until you get to the source of the story, where it's coming from. That's the only time you're going to get the original story, like the author who came up with the Superman story and wrote it down, who made the character Mickey Mouse, and when did they write. And it normally starts off with a comic or a book of some sort, where an author authored the book and the story, and then they then turned it into a movie, and years later they've had many remixes and mixes and mixes, to the point where people don't even remember that this was just a story. Wadu Moisa, until next time. Remember, tune in every Tuesday, 7 p.m, because OSM is the channel to be in this day and time, to get the actual facts from the master teacher, Pana Babyanun, the secrets, the master secrets, and most of all, the Pataruk, the way that you need to be living in this day and time, that's going to navigate you through all the chaos and all the, as the sister was saying, you need to know where to be, what to do, and how you will be protected from the unconscious.